is a serious case. This is a serious matter. We've seen other countries that has gone through a transitional justice process, and then they have succeeded, and it has moved the country to another level. This is what we need as a Gambia after 22 years of autocratic rule. We want people to feel part of the country. We want people who were aggrieved to be okay, you know, to maintain that, you know, ownership of being a citizen and then looking at the country as their own country without being aggrieved. So this process is critical, is complex, but it is very important.
Yes.
You know, and then government should definitely factor, because now it's either they have a supplementary budget to address these things, because we've seen they have supplementary appropriation bills that were tabled. You know, these are emergencies.
Yes.
Government should definitely look into having even a supplementary appropriation bill to ensure that these things are definitely taken care of.
So, Ibrahim, I think we will follow developments to
and
also understand the government's part, why the delay, and what the problem is. So we will bring you these developments as they come. There's something that is very important that is here, and it's exactly the work that you do on a daily basis, because you are the Vice President of the Gambia Press Union. We have the story that says journalists urged to maintain neutrality in election reporting. I think this is something very important, and this is something that the Gambia Press Union should be advocating for from now till December.
Sure, this is what we have been advocating for. That is why we brought a lot of, you know, instruments, you know, inclusive instruments like the Code of Ethics, you know, that outline the work of journalists, the Chano Jallo Code of Ethics. I think it's important. You know, the media is very, very key. It either makes election credible or breaks it, or even propagate, you know, violence, or advocate for peace. The media is very powerful, and then you understand that elections cannot thrive, or democracy cannot thrive without the presence of the media. The media is a very important component, because if the election management body is communicating, they communicate through the media. The politicians, they communicate through the media. Other people, analysts, they communicate through the media. So media should be very objective, and they should not also be given platforms for people to come and castigate others. True. It has to be based on objectivity. It has to be based on, you know, based on policies and programs, not character assassination. I think politics is all about bringing your policies, bringing your programs, how you address the needs of the ordinary Gambian on health, road, on issue of education, women, maternal mortality and morbidity. How do you address these issues? These are the things. So the media plays a very important role.
Yeah. MS, okay. Yes, actually, this is very important, and I've seen a lot of debates about this issue among journalists sometimes. The people sometimes talk about the fact that at some point journalists should be given license to practice. What do you think in relation to that? Because we've seen individuals going on radio stations ranting. We've seen journalists at some point being the journalists at the same time and being the analysts. So some of these things are happening. How do you think these things can be changed? Because these are the things that get to fuel violence. I
totally agree, absolutely. That is why we all have a role to play, especially the media owners.
Yeah.
Gambia, as you said, we are transitioning, so the media also is transitioning. We've gone through a lot of, you know, a lot of impediments, like during the 22 years. So these are the things that you expect post-dictatorship. But what happened is, that is why we have the Code of Ethics, how journalists should know to their fingertips, and also the media chiefs. I think the media chiefs have a very important role, because they are the ones that bring these people and give them the platforms to discuss. Some of whom are not even journalists. They will just give them mics. Yes, I agree with you. That is why we have the Media Council, which is a first step. And it's a young council. It's a young growing council. It is initiated by the GPU, but an independent autonomy of the GPU. And you've seen just, I think yesterday, I don't know, or last week on Friday, I think, the Media Council's chairperson was talking about hate speech and the responsibility of the media.
Yes.
So this is good, and I think Pura also has a role to play, like regulating the media, ensuring that the component of regulation through hate speech and stuff is regulated. So we have the bodies here, and then having a license, I think it's a transition.
Okay.
We'll
get there.
Yeah, we will get there. You know, looking at the capacity. So it's a young council.
Yeah, but
so
in as much as we're looking for license as well, another argument is that we shouldn't bring in license at some point to kind of shut journalists up. So it's a two-way thing, but like you said, it's a transition, and we'll get there. Ibrahim.
Yes, it's similar to what Jennifer just asked. I mean, I think credible information is very important, but misinformation can be very dangerous. You know, we are on like this new founded democracy. Anybody can do anything. You understand? People can go on radio, say anything. You can use your mobile phone and record anything. So, the Gambia Press Union, what steps or what do you put in place to make sure you address these situations?
Yes, controlling individuals is very difficult. As you said, you know, the advent of the social media has created a lot of platform for people to have divergence and dissenting views. But also remember, that is why I said the Media Council has already been created, and it's their work to regulate. GPU is there to advocate on freedom of press freedom, independent of the press, and also help journalists to have a guide. That is why GPU also established MAJAC, the Media Academy for Journalism and Communication, to ensure a professional media fraternity. So that is why media owners are also, you know, should be encouraged to at least give those chances for journalists to go and build their capacities, to help them build their capacity. Because if you are known for standards, like for instance, when it comes to QTV, you know, it's a very established media house. And then the more you have professional journalists, the more you have credibility. The more you also even have impact in the lives of the people. This is why the media is here. So it's not about bringing anyone, which should not be allowed. But if media chiefs are allowing anyone to come on board, it is going to, you know, destroy their credibility.
Jennifer, you know, I totally agree about that license thing for journalists. It is very important. I mean, if you are a practicing journalist, I mean, it's important for you to get a license. You understand?
Just to cover
up. To cover up.
But not also trying to tamper with freedom of expression.
Exactly.
Of course.
So they should work on that.
Of course, of course.
So talking about freedom and participation and expression, on the Standard newspaper, we have My Fati says APRC must not be discriminated.
Wow. Okay.
We're in elections.
Yeah. Discrimination is not even allowed if you look at the Constitution. And APRC is a registered political party. And probably right now we've seen a lot of political talks around the APRC and other political parties. So definitely no political party should be discriminated. No Gambian should be discriminated even. You have the right, political right to participate, which is guaranteed by the Constitution. So obviously it's a registered political party. So there should be no discrimination. And even each and every Gambian has the right to assembly, has the right to association, has the right to associate yourself with a political party. So political parties, these are national institutions. If you look at Section 60 of the Constitution, it has clearly spelled out how political parties should be established. So these are national institutions. So if they are there and they are given license to operate by the IEC, then they have the freedom to do their activities, and then associate themselves with anyone they want.
Well, some people might be saying right now, I mean, don't you think we are smelling something like a coalition? That's why My Fati is coming with a brush and painting the APRC like this. I mean,
and and there are confirmed reports that Dudu Ja is said
exactly.
Yes,
so
I even read it. I even read that.
Those are
but it's normal in a democracy. We've seen even in mature democracies where, you know, even in the U.S. you have bipartisan, you know, you have even in the Senate where the Democrats will want the support of the Senate and the Senate will, the Republicans will. So this is normal, you know, seeking support from another political party.
But Ibrahim,
yes.
you know, the problem in this particular situation is that the question that a lot of people are asking in relation to this is that, what is NPP promising APRC if there's a promise?
Wow, yeah, but
that's the question.
Yeah, that's probably you bring the NPP here and then they answer the question. But I know it's a normal thing. This is a political field. We've seen people crisscrossing, going to this party, going back, coming, going back. Yeah. So I think it's a normal in a democracy. In this democracy, that should not warrant people to be aggressively attacking people based on their
what I think is maybe it's the political maturity right now. People are not used to these kind of things. We think if a political party is on its own, I mean, that political party doesn't have to go in the direction of another one.
But if you look at Gambian politics, it has emerged since in the 1960s, where we have coalitions, where we have cross-carpeting, you know, NCPs going to PPPs and the PPPs, you know, so these are, I think these are normal trend. Probably it's the people who want to move their agenda aggressively. And then I think Gambia has a very clear record of political maturity. Because if you look at the Gambia, we have been doing elections since in the 1960s, you know, 1962, and then you have the 1970 and 70s, and then it goes on. So I think it's important to note that this political maturity is already there. It's people who want to bring their agenda. Yes. They have specific agenda. We've seen other countries where people are paid just to destroy others. So these are things, you know, it's politics, it's so technical, and then it's so critical. Yes. But this you expect these things
like
to
you mentioned, we should bring the NPP
to ask them, why are they
let them
to ask them why they're trying to join, why are they trying to marry?
Recently there are many things happening. I mean, so people are seeing this. So it will be important for us to have them.
So quickly, due to time constraints, I think this is something that is worth talking about. Just quickly, because we do not have enough time. On one of these newspapers, we have this story on fertilizers being intercepted. And we've seen that these fertilizers are in the custody of a Malian. And these fertilizers are supposed to go up country. These are meant for Gambian farmers. And according to this particular report, allegedly, these fertilizers were bought from a government official. That is what we've seen. And fertilizer scandals come.
Yeah, you know, I think it's important as Gambians, people who are giving the mantle of leadership, to be honest, and also to serve the interests of the country. Yeah. These fertilizers, more often what happens, farmers will always complain, even the government bring a lot of fertilizers in the country. So I think government should investigate, the police should investigate and ensure that they look at, because this is a tip-off, it's an allege, you know, so I think the relevant authorities should ensure that whether this is true, to look at the veracity of the information. If it is true, those that are found wanting should be brought to book. Because these fertilizers are meant for Gambians, and then they should ensure that it goes to the right people, so that it has a trickle-down effect. Because if farmers have fertilizers, they have bumper harvest. Obviously, Gambia will move towards self-sufficient food sufficiency. This is what we want. We have seen other countries like Ghana who are moving towards that direction. You know, I think this is very important, and then we should ensure whatever belongs to the Gambia remains in the Gambia, and then goes to the right people. You know, so the relevant authorities should definitely investigate, and then it should not also be like a futile investigation. We should ensure that they go to the
let them investigate and keep us posted.
Yes, let them investigate and give us the information, and we will get to pass it on to allow Gambians to make informed choices. Thank you so much, MS Ba. Just recently we had Mar Nyang, and he talked about the fact that they had 2 milestones. At some point they will be looking at corrupt officials as well and taking them to court. So we hope, if this is true, through, this is something that they can eventually pursue. It's left to them to decide.
Sure.
Thank you so much, MS, for coming on the program. Up next, we have social issues. Tabaski is tomorrow, and obviously we need to take a look at security measures on Tabaski Day. That is why we have the PRO Lamin Jai, the police PRO, obviously Lamin Jai. He's here with us about to take us through some of the security measures come tomorrow. Let's take a short commercial break. When we come back, we have ASP Lamin Jai.
Step into the future of television with sleek and slim design Samsung Smart TVs, ranging in size from 32 to 75 inches, and in different technology. Smart LED, Crystal UHD, Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dot LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV as our TVs offer an unparalleled vision adventure from the comfort of your living room. Ultra viewing angle, powerful picture quality, web browser, gallery, EarthNet LAN, wireless LAN built-in, Bluetooth, screen mirroring technology, mobile on TV mirroring, built-in voice assistance, Wi-Fi direct. Not only that, our TVs are backed with 12 months warranty, and we are currently on a promotion. Contact us on 333-3217.
The best product in town is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow.
Hello there, you're watching QTV's This Morning program, and before we went for that commercial break, we were with MS Abah, the Vice President of the Gambia Press Union, as well as an activist board member on the newspaper review, helping us analyze all of these newspaper headlines. Now we are on to social issues. Tomorrow is Tabaski. Happy Tabaski in advance. Are you ready for the Tabaski tomorrow?
Yeah.
Where's Anasa
Absolutely, I am ready. I have a big one.
You have a big one.
So we are ready.
Yes, we are ready for this.
This Tabaski will never be...
Will never be the same.
Yes.
Okay. So we are joined by Lamin Jai, Superintendent. I said ASP Lamin Jai, so I need to correct that, Mr. Jai. Mr. Jai is now Superintendent Lamin Jai. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much for having me, and don't worry about that, really.
Oh, yeah, but it is important. It is important.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having
me. And congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Yes, so tomorrow is Tabaski, like I mentioned. What are some of the security measures put in place to ensure that there's smooth vehicle passing here and there, and of course, kids? What are the recommendations in relation to parents looking after their kids and just the security in general?
Very well, thank you so much. And we want to start with the fact that the Gambia Police Force has reintroduced or intensified the enforcement of the regulation on mandatory or compulsory wearing of face masks. And this is because of the fact that the Ministry of Health has produced data that shows that there is a surge in the rate of coronavirus cases in the country. Yeah. And as a result of that, we have decided to intensify the enforcement of the compulsory face mask wearing regulation. Yeah. And by this, we want to get the public to again support. You know, this enforcement is not that easy one. We know the challenges that we've gone through during the peak of the coronavirus pandemic, and so having to come again and say people have to wear face masks is another challenge, but we want people to understand that, and this is equally very important given the fact that we are moving towards the Tabaski.
Yeah, but Mr. Jai, before you move on further to go into the Tabaski, I wanted to start with the Tabaski, but you took us to the face masks, which is important, which is supposed to be our first point. You talk about the fact that now the Gambia Police Force is trying to enforce the issue of face masks, but the public also has a concern. They're saying that police themselves do not wear face masks, you know, and they want people to wear face masks. How can you enforce something when you're not actually trying to enforce it on yourself? So how about that?
Our officers are wearing face masks, and so we that is number one when it comes to enforcement. In fact, you have to be seen doing something before you ask other people to do it, and this is why our police commands are all being informed accordingly to ensure that every police station station, a police officer operating at police station must ensure they wear face masks. In fact, even at the peak of the pandemic, when we were enforcing, we were even disciplining police officers for not wearing face masks. Of course, people must understand police officers are also human beings, and so if they are found wanting, they are also equally being dealt with. And so that should not be an excuse for anybody to say, I am not going to wear a face mask because I have seen a police officer that does not wear a face mask, because the law is there for everybody. You equally like the police officer. So we want to implore on people to support in the enforcement, so that people also need to be reminded that there is a penalty. If you fail to wear the face mask, you can be prosecuted, and at the end of the day, you might be fined up to $1,000 for not wearing the face mask.
Mr. Njai, okay, coming back to that $1,000 of wearing face mask. I think we've been hearing this for a very long time.
Yeah, what are the statistics?
It's not only announcing it or giving that rule for people to be wearing face masks, otherwise you pay $1,000. We've seen a lot of people not wearing masks, but at the end of the time, if you're approached or apprehended by a police, all that the police will tell you, go and buy a mask and go. Don't you think the police have to be strict in carrying out that responsibility?
Very well. You know, in law enforcement, you have degrees of enforcement and you have approaches to enforcement. And so if you go by our figures, during the peak of the pandemic, we have prosecuted people and they have paid these fines at courts because they were violating. So, but the layers of enforcement also is such that you begin with sensitizing people, informing them adequately, engaging them, and then from that point, then you move on to the other layers until you get to the point where you feel you need to strictly enforce to the point of prosecuting people. So it's not an issue of just bumping on people, arresting them, and taking them to court. Because if you look at the threat, is a common one, a common enemy. That's a disease. You know, this is not the normal law enforcement.
Yes.
We need to understand that as well. It's not like a crime that is written in the law books. If you violate, you should be. But this is a disease. It's a threat, a global threat for that matter. So it's better that people understand it so that they will support in the enforcement, because they will understand that, in fact, the reason why they are asking me to put on the mask is for my own good. And so that is why the degree of enforcement happens that way.
Ibrahim,
we start by
this is sort of a
sensitizing
collective
people.
responsibility that we all have to take. You know, this can affect the police officer, this can affect us as citizens. So I think when you talk about the fact that it's a collective responsibility, I do agree with that.
Yes, exactly. So we understand maybe sometimes you might go through some difficulties as a police officer carrying out the law. So what other things do you think the police need so that they can carry out their responsibilities effectively?
Well, regarding the issues of the enforcement of the face mask, we want people to be adequately informed. And then if they are informed, which of course the media and everybody has a crucial role to play. It used to happen in the beginning when people were well sensitized about the COVID and its preventive guidelines. And if that happens again, we believe the compliance and support level will be high, and the job will be very easy for the police officer that goes out in the marketplace or the garage or public places to enforce, or the enforcement will be much easier for the officer.
Yeah, I think the sensitization should never have stopped in the first place. This is supposed to be something that gets to continue. But like you said, the media has a role to play, and that is why we have you here today to talk to us about some of these things. So moving on, tomorrow is Tabaski. Let's talk about some of the security measures that are put in place to ensure we have a smooth Tabaski tomorrow.
Very well. Thank you so much again. The Tabaski is a very important security operation for the police. And so we know that there is the Tabaski Ram Sale, where you have certain designated areas that are pointed out as ram sailing points for people. And so at these places, you have a lot of people that crowd. And so this is why some of the places are even right on the highways, thereby creating congestion in the traffic. And so what we decide to do is to increase police presence around these areas. And so that's why we have deployment of traffic officers around this area to ensure that even if the congestion is to happen, but there is some safety measures that are put in place to allow people to move about and then do their ram sales and buying in peace and harmony. And so we have done that deployment, and that is one thing that is ongoing. Not only at the ram selling points, but also even on the main highway. There are certain intersections now have become very crowded and very busy now. And so we decided to increase the presence of the police around that area. We must understand that the delay will happen somehow. And so what is important is for people to bear and then, you know, have a bit of patience, because I understand that there is what we call road rage, and road rage can be very detrimental. So you are a driver and you are moving on, and then you get angry, and then the rage and all that, eventually you might be the one even creating more trouble. But the delay will happen, but then the officers are there to ensure safety. That's one thing. And the other thing is the crime aspect of it. So because we know that even if we have the traffic officers, but also we have people who use these crowds as opportunity to perpetrate theft issues and so on, which is why we have put in place patrols that will patrol these areas. The anti-crime unit, the police intervention unit, the Operation Zero Crime patrol units are all in place to ensure that they patrol around. Not only that, but we have also put up the plainclothes officers to be in the middle of these crowds so that they will mingle with people. So whoever thinks you can get away with issues, we are telling you that you might not be very lucky, because we even have uniformed officers embedded in the crowds as well.
Yes, Mr. Njai, it's very important. We all know during feasts like this, crimes are common. Many people go out for different intentions. What security tips do you have for the general public?
Especially parents.
Yes, it is, well, we all have to work together to make sure this thing works, not only the police.
Of course. One important thing is, especially for people, is personal safety, especially in the handling of cash. We realize that in recent times, people withdraw a lot of money, they want to buy rams or some stuff like that, but you have to employ safety means in handling that cash. Don't expose it such that you leave it on the chair of your car while the windscreens are all there. Somebody comes, peep into the car and thinks it's an opportunity, break the windscreen and then take the money. So, or you put it in a bag, it's so exposing that, you know, somebody who sees you understands that this is a crowd, he can get next to you and then take the money from you. So that is one thing people need to be very mindful about. And the second thing is, you know, parents also, because we know Tabaski Day, they allow children to go out on Salibo, but they need to be mindful where they go and be very vigilant so that they monitor them also. And also even the time when they come back, you know, don't leave them out there until late in the night or some issues like that.
I think, Mr. Njai, let's just put it this way. No Salibo this Tabaski, not just because of security, but because of the COVID, you know, for social distancing and all of that.
Very well.
Yes, you know what, just allow me, Mr. Jai, I want you to clarify something, although it is not connected to the topic that we are discussing. But recently the police, they released a press release that, I mean, road obstruction, piles of gravel, sand, you know, parked vehicle. What is the police doing now? Because we are still seeing vehicles parked at the wrong edge of the road.
Very well, you know, we are building up an operation called Operation Clear the Roads, and this is to, and we are working with all the relevant stakeholders, the councils, Birkama Area Council, the Carnegie Municipal Council, Banjul City Council, because we know they are very important stakeholders. We've done these operations before, but what our experience is such that once we do it, people come back again, and they give excuses about, oh, you know, the council gave me this place, or, you know, this place has been done. So that's why now all the council and the physical planning, everybody is involved and they are on board. Because what we want to do now is, we've sent the information. So we told people, those who are having cars, derelict vehicles, fitter garages that are right on the road, or some people who sell these tires, worn out tires or something like this, they pile it along the sides of the road, thereby causing congestion. So what we want to do now is to come all out. We're going to have trucks that will remove these things, if these things are stalls or some temporal selling points, we will remove them. If it is even a permanent structure that is encroaching into the road, it will be removed. And if you say, for example, you have a vehicle that you refused or you wrongly parked it, we will remove it from there and take it somewhere. And before you can get it back, you'll have to pay a fine for that. And all this is coming on the 26th. On the 26th is the launch of the operation. And so the information we send out is for people to prepare from now on to 26th. On the 26th, we will be out.
Mr. Njai, the problem is not about doing it. The problem is about maintaining it.
Very well.
Well, here in the Gambia, we are good. Yes, we are good at maybe implementing at the first time. But whether we are going to maintain this, our roads are tight. You know, from my home to work, it takes me almost 1 hour 30 minutes to get here.
Not only you.
Yes, but not only me, but people are watching.
Very well. It's the reason why this time around, for the sake of the sustainability, which is why, because we've got an experience in terms of handling this kind of operation. This is why in this other operation, we've decided to bring all the stakeholders on board so that nobody's going to come up with the excuse that it is the council that gave me this or that. And then we are going to have standing patrols. When we remove, it's not just the removal, but we have a patrol which is going to be comprising of a platoon of the police anti-crime unit and a platoon from the police intervention unit, which will make sure that they patrol all the areas that are cleared. So that patrol is going to be a constant thing, because we don't, this is resource, it is definitely a resource mobilization that is needed to remove. So when we remove, you bring it back there, it calls for more and more wasting of resources, which is why we don't want to go into that this time around. So if you come back, the patrols will pick you.
All right, I'm so happy that you talked about sustainability. I think sustainability is not just a problem with the Gambia Police Force, but it's just a general problem in Gambia.
In the Gambia,
we have seen that when it comes to the Gambia Police Force, there's a problem with consistency. I can remember there was a time when it comes to these papers that people need to have, which is the insurance and the driver's license. The Gambia Police Force gets to follow a trend. When the trend is on, they are looking for driver's license and insurance. They are looking for cars without windscreens, and the list goes on. And next minute, you won't see them again. So it's just a trend. Now, drivers understand that when it comes to the Gambia Police Force, it's an operation for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And after that, nothing happens again.
That is the problem.
Why is that? Why is it inconsistent? Is it because there are no resources?
Okay. It's not the problem of that too. You need to understand one thing. That is, there is period for everything. Say, for example, changing of documents. That every year, by the end of December, the documents, driver's license, and so they expire for per se. And so people need to renew. That's why we intensify the enforcement of those documents at that point, so that people are aware that they need to change their documents because the year has ended. And so as a result of this, the enforcement and the informations need to come out loud and clear. So at the end of the day, it's a routine enforcement, which is sometimes you go on the road, you find a police checkpoint, they stop you and ask you a document, because that is the routine normal enforcement. But at the end of the year or the beginning of the year, this is a period of time when people need to be reminded.
What about the tinted? Tinted glasses?
The same
I saw that there was a period where you were concentrating on that. Suddenly, it's not happening anymore.
You know, what happens is, most of the time, if you see situations like that, you need to understand that we are aware of a particular trend that is happening. And as a result of the factors that are responsible for that is related to this particular, so we intensify. Once the situation is under control, we allow the normal routine officers to continue with their normal enforcement. So up to now, if you are driving a tinted vehicle without clearance, at any point in time, you can be stopped and challenged as to why you are not having a document, and the vehicle will be parked.
Okay, I'll be so happy to see a Gambia Police Force whereby these things continue,
well,
because
I
it's
think,
necessary.
yes, with the police force, there are a lot of things to talk about, because even the teen drivers, I mean, these kids that drive around the stadium, you know, go to the beach and do a lot of things, you know. But for me now, when I'm driving, if I see any road obstruction, I'll snap it and send it to Mr.
Okay,
Njai.
quickly, thank you, Balde, for leading the way in relation to having a conversation beyond Tabaski. I think it is important. Thank you for leading the way in relation to that. So quickly, before you leave, I want you to talk about swift investigation, because this is a concern currently. The Gambian citizens are very concerned about the police ensuring that when issues happen, there's swift investigation. Why are we not seeing that?
Very well. We do swift investigation. In fact, sometimes we investigate issues that are not even on the public domain. People are not even aware of these things. And so because this is how law enforcement operates, we operate in covert and overt ways. So not everything comes out on the limelight so that people talk about them. But our investigation capabilities are very high. There are high-profile issues that we have investigated, and we come out with results. Now, what happened is this. Sometimes when we finish investigation, we cannot come back and give people the outcome of the investigation, especially on the media domain. Because the outcome of those investigations form evidence in court. And it is very not okay to talk about matters that are subjects of litigation. And so we will reserve those things to the courts for people to perhaps report from the court. When we have reporters from the court, they will understand that the same issue that was talked about before on the public are the same matters that are in the court, and they can report the outcome from the court. But it will be difficult for us again to come and talk about the evidence, because the implication is this. It's like, okay, the evidence you have against a particular suspect, you are now talking about it. The person might also have a defense lawyer or something that is also preparing to defend that individual in court. So if you talk everything about that on the media, they are also preparing.
Is that the case with the Busumbala case? Because we are seeing on New Day that the parents are actually disturbed by the lack of progress in relation to the case.
The Busumbala case is almost at completion. In fact, what happened is we want to be very careful, because when that incident happened, there were too much publicity and a lot of analysis were made. So investigation need to exhaust all angles, so that by the time we say to people, this is what we have from the investigation, we've done it right. Experts have been brought, they looked into the autopsy results have been analyzed, and so what we need to do now is to finally conclude on the investigation report and inform the people adequately, because that situation calls for that, really.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Njai, and thank you so much for answering our questions beyond the topic that you've been given. You are the police PRO. What do you expect?
Exactly. So when we see the police PRO, we have to make sure
we get to use the opportunity to clear the air in relation to a lot of things. Thank you so much, Mr. Njai, and we are wishing you a happy Tabaski. Your surname is Njai, by the way.
Thank you so much.
So what should we expect for tomorrow? Thank you so much for coming to the program.
Well, I think I'll visit him, because he said he has a very big...
He has a very big ram, so you will have to pay him a visit. We'll meet there. Thank you so much. And we have another topic on the social issues, which is crossover to Arafat. We have Imam Jah right in the studio to take us through this very important day. Stay tuned. We'll go for a short commercial break. We'll be right back.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
to build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
Light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
with ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
Want more in your bundle? At QCell, the biggest, fastest, and most reliable mobile operator, we've got you covered with Sunyu Bundle. With Sunyu Bundle, dial *303# and get the bundle of your choice. Sunyu Bundle, affordable, fast, and reliable. QCell, we innovate, others follow.
The best product in town is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow.
Step into the future of television with sleek and slim design Samsung Smart TVs, ranging in size from 32 to 75 inches, and in different technology: Smart LED, Crystal UHD, Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dot LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV as our TVs offer an unparalleled vision adventure from the comfort of your living room. Ultra viewing angle, powerful picture quality, web browser, gallery, EarthNet LAN, wireless LAN built-in, Bluetooth, screen mirroring technology, mobile on TV mirroring, built-in voice assistance, Wi-Fi direct. Not only that, our TVs are backed with 12 months warranty, and we are currently on a promotion. Contact us on 333-3217.
Allah mobile money service o Allah ta minna ya kele koteke. Isa cash power sanno anila Q money account imam fenjo. Hade fenne man sone ya nyinti.
Welcome back, viewers, from that short break. I did talk about the fact that we are still on social issues, but we have a little bit of change of a plan. We are going to community watch right now, and I'm joined by my colleague, Ansumana Isonyasi. He's going to take us through the preparation of Tabaski right now. Thank you so much, Ansumana Isonyasi, for joining us. He's at the Banjul Ferry Terminal currently. So what is going on there right now? Seems a lot of people.
Working at the moment,
right.
But
yes, so we are going to be back with Ansumana Isonyasi shortly. Sorry about that. We have an audio issue right there, but we'll be back with Ansumana Isonyasi. He will take us through what is happening at the Banjul Ferry Terminal right there. So we will go back to the social issues with Imam Jah. Thank you so much for joining us on this program. So we will be discussing crossover to Arafat, but thank you so much for joining us, considering the fact that you just came last night from the opening of the new National Mosque in Ghana. So how was that experience down there in Ghana, Imam?
I first of all want to thank you for inviting me to your this morning program.
Yeah.
I first of all would like to extend my greetings to Imam al-Akbar, Imam Ratib, Charna Ali Maska, who delegated me to witness the commissioning of the National Mosque in Ghana.
Yeah.
According to information we heard from them, it is the second most largest constructed mosque in West Africa. And according to information gathered from them, this mosque is built by Turkish.
Oh.
If you look at the shape and the how to call it, shape of the mosque, it looks like mosques in Turkey, in Ankara.
Very beautiful.
I witnessed a very important program there, a program that how to call it, participated, or a program that the president of the country and his vice president and the president of Niger witnessed.
Wow.
And it is the president that commissioned the mosque.
Okay.
And that was a very good development. And as we know, the president of Ghana is a Christian, but the vice president is a Muslim. So we learned from that program what we call tolerance and peaceful coexistence between different faiths.
Yeah.
And I think Gambia is an example if that aspect is concerned. Definitely, not only the mosque, but they also build health centers surrounding the mosque and a very big school, very high standard school. And I think how to call it, cooperation will be open between the Gambia and Turkey through that center in Ghana. Okay. They have representative in Ghana, and we exchange addresses, and inshallah ta'ala will follow the matter to see that Gambia will benefit from that, how to call it, that cooperation.
Yes.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
Janaba. Imam, it is very important, and once again, thank you very much for coming to this morning. The structure is beautiful, and we are saying congratulations to the Ghanaian people out there. But Imam, what can you tell us? I think Islam is beyond only building a structure. What can you advise us when it comes to our spirituality? I think that's the most important.
Yeah, building such a mosque in an African country far from Turkey, we learn the how to call it, what Islam taught us about unity, brotherhood, brotherhood in Islam. And if you look at the invitees in that program, they came from all over the West African countries, and delegates meet, exchange addresses, know each other, and we even, how to call it, met the minister responsible for religious affairs in Turkey, and the Imam al-Akbar of Ghana. I think that gathering, we adduce from all these activities that Islam could be, or Muslims could be united in the whole world, and also Muslims with their brothers Christians also can live together in harmony, in peace, and in love. That's what I can
Imam,
learn from
because we have limited time and we have other issues that we need to also discuss, as in the Arafat today and the Hajj. Before we go to the Arafat, let's talk about the Hajj. You are the Amirul Hajj, and we know that this year we are unable to perform Hajj as a country. So how has this affected activities of your organization as Amirul Hajj?
Thank you very much. I first of all want to congratulate the whole world, especially the Muslim world, and our country in particular, from His Excellency the President and the government, to my Minister of Religious Affairs, that is Mr. Musa Drame, and to congratulate Imam al-Akbar, Imam Ratib of Banjul, and all Muslims, and my own father, Professor Dr. Omar Jah, for witnessing this day today, that is the day of Arafah. As we know, definitely this COVID-19 affected the whole world, not only the Gambia, because Hajj is a unified program. Anything affects Gambia, affects the whole world. And we, what we know this year is that Saudi did not allow any international pilgrim to go and perform pilgrimage, unless those who live in Saudi and Saudis themselves. So definitely it affects my office, definitely, very deeply. As you know, this is the second year that Hajj is cancelled. And as you know, there are many Muslims standing on the queue, definitely eagerly want to perform Hajj. Some of them has paid their advance payment to respective travel agencies and operators, waiting to the day that Saudi will allow Muslims to come to Hajj. So travel agencies, that is operators also, they have involved themselves in some activities and some expenditures from the first year, buying some stuffs, preparing for Hajj operation. Then Hajj became cancelled. That definitely affects the whole country.
Yes, it
and
does.
affects.
But Imam,
yes.
I can see that normally when you're preaching, you always talk about intention with whatever you're doing. Seems that even if these people do not go, the fact that the intention is there and you're ready to perform this is a plus for them.
Yeah, because Allah will not account anybody for what happened beyond his control.
Yes.
This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This COVID-19 is from Allah, and we agree that definitely is threatening the whole world, the lives of the human being. So you have your intention, you gathered your money and you intend to go, but you cannot go. So Allah will not account anyone for that failure.
Exactly, that's important, Imam. People have intention of going to Hajj, but unfortunately, still the pandemic is rocking. What tips do you think people can do, at least to increase their blessings? What do you think we should do?
Especially on Arafat Day.
You know, on Arafat, whether there is COVID-19 or not, what Islam says about Arafat is there. Whether you go for Hajj or you didn't go for Hajj, you can benefit from this blessing day. It is narrated from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala wasallam, and is authentic that anybody keeps fast on this day, Allah will forgive him all his sins in the past year. So I think whether you are, unless those who are in Arafah are not allowed to fast. But those who cannot go to Mecca, definitely they can benefit from this day, that we keep fast. Not only this day, but the past 8 days of Zulhijjah also are blessed days. So we increase our worships, we increase our good deeds, so that inshallah we benefit from these blessing days. I think Allah is very great. Wherever you are, whether you are in Mecca or anywhere you are,
the blessing is available.
It's important.
It is very important.
We are coming. It's a day, less than 24 hours. We will get into Tabaski. Imam, what can you advise us? Because might be some people are doing it the wrong way when it comes to slaughtering, when it comes to buying the ram. You know, what kind of a ram should we buy?
You know, I think Muslims now make themselves suffer a lot, which they may not get any reward from, because Allah did not make it compulsory on all Muslims to slaughter a ram or a goat or how to call it, sheep, how do you call it? It's sunnah, it's an authentic sunnah for those who are able to do it. But now it became a culture. Whether you are able to get it or not, you have to get it. We are just searching for, how to call it, for meat. Yes. And you look at, after Tabaski, you will see many cases happen between couples, husbands and wives. Yes, fighting. Why? Because the sheep my husband bought for me is too small, is too that, or the sheep of my wujja is bigger than fatter than
I think
that one.
People are
those people, after this Tabaski, you will see in our courts, in the Qadi court, you see many cases that the course of action was about this Tabaski.
Yeah, quite unfortunate.
Yes,
that's very unfortunate.
Yes, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not definitely make it compulsory on us to make Tabaski. If you can buy it. If not, you leave it.
Imam, I think now it's the societal influence. I mean, you did not buy a ram. Jenava bought a ram, and I did not buy a ram. So my kids will be like, these people, they bought a ram.
But the reason why that happens, Imam, I think it has to do with the upbringing.
You know,
all of these things has to do with upbringing
it
and
just
how
became a culture, a habit. But how Islam structured the Muslim society if we followed the teachings of Islam, we would not face those problems.
Yes.
Because if you can slaughter a sheep and your neighbor doesn't have, you give him part of your meat. That's what Islam told us. Take part and share with your neighbors, and the rest you can keep
but
it.
Imam, now we've seen.
But now
yes.
you slaughter a big sheep that you cannot even finish within 10 days. You don't share. You don't give anyone.
Imam, I think now
that is why now everybody is struggling to get his own sheep.
Yes.
And we also should teach our children.
Yes.
Yeah, the teachings of Islam. We tell them the values of Islam. But if we turn how to call it, this
blind eye.
This worship, we turn it to culture and other. That is why our children feels bad when their father do not buy them a ram.
All right.
Yes,
and
that is why fathers should force themselves, sometimes even to tell lies, to take loans, to do many things, in order to get
Imam, at the end of Tabaski, there will be a lot of crimes.
Yes, he just mentioned that, the Kadi court. Yeah, thank you.
Come to our court.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you
so much, Imam, for coming, considering the fact that you just came from Ghana last night, and we called you and you're here today. Thank you so much for joining us on this particular program.
Thank you.
So viewers, that is all we have on social issues. We talked about security measures on Tabaski, and also we talked about crossover to Arafat with Imam Jah. So moving on, we are going to Community Watch with Ansumana Esonyasi. So with Ansumana Esonyasi here, we'll be talking about Tabaski preparation. He's right there at the ferry terminal in Banjul. We covered a story in which the GPA rather, talked about the fact that 3 ferries will be operational this particular Tabaski. So Ansumana Esonyasi will take us through that to tell us if that is actually happening at the ferry terminal there. Thank you so much, Ansumana Esonyasi, for joining us. Ansumana? Yes, Ansumana, take us through what is happening at the ferry terminal right now.
As you can see behind you, so many people, using what is undoubtedly one of the most easiest processes the ferry terminal here in Banjul to cross over to the other side of the river, not Banjul to be precise.
Yes.
And this is all in anticipation of tomorrow's Eid al-Adha feast, the Muslim feast, otherwise known as Tabaski, here in Gambia, and of course in Senegal. But luckily enough, we have the general manager for ferries.
Okay.
The Gambia Coast Authority here was Mr. Jawara, and we will engage him briefly. But in the meantime, all 3 ferries I understand are operating.
Okay.
So you can see people gathering out here all trying to cross to the other side.
Okay. But Ansumana, before you move on, let's talk about the compulsory wearing of face mask. Is this enforced currently? The compulsory wearing of face mask, is it been enforced? Because I can see people over there not wearing masks, and I can see the Gambia Red Cross Society and other officials down there trying to enforce these regulations.
Well, I can tell you, you can see from the images now, these are live pictures. Most of the people here are, of course, with their face masks, but not, many of them are wearing their face masks properly.
Okay.
There are also a good number of them who do not have their face masks on. But I can tell you, it is, one regulation that the GPA security are here are trying very much to enforce, and they are witnessed, several people being stopped and asked to wear their face masks properly. The security here are really having a restless day. But again, as regards to the face masks, like I said earlier, almost, a good number of people here have their face masks, but they're not wearing it properly. There are very few people doing that.
Yes, that is Ansumana Esonyasi live in Banjul, taking us through what is happening at the ferry terminal in relation to the Tabaski. But Eso, are you seeing any physical officer there, physically trying to enforce the law when it comes to face mask? That's what I want to understand.
Yes, you have the force security, you have PIA officers on the ground, and even I've seen members of the Gambia Red Cross Society as well you're talking to people to make them understand that they need to have their face mask on. But again, like I said, almost, I can safely say 80% of people that are coming in here have their face mask with them. But not, all of them have, their face mask on work properly. So that is the challenge. But a good number of them have their face mask on.
Okay.
One regulation that is really good to observe out here. And I can tell you that the security on the ground here, the PIU, the post security, they're doing extremely well as regards to face masks. Although it's a challenge because not everyone is really compliant.
All right. Thank you so much, Ansumana Esonyasi, for talking us through that. I'm told you are supposed to conduct an interview now to take us through some of the activities there in relation to the ferry. So please go ahead.
I have with me Mr. Jara, who is the General Manager of the ferry. Mr. Jara, thank you for agreeing to speak to us. What is the situation?
I think the situation is stable. We have started the 24-hour system since yesterday, and the whole of the ferry is operating. So people are coming in bad numbers, but we are able to handle the situation, and the situation is calm.
I was just saying earlier, one restriction, or should I say regulation, that I could clearly see being put in place here is the issue of wearing face masks. Now, a good number of commuters here have their face masks with them, but not many are wearing them properly.
Yes, the issue of wearing face masks is a challenging one, but we as ferry service, we are doing our best to ensure that all the customers are compliant. At the gate, we advise the customers to wear the face mask. We are not forcing them to do so, but all we can do at this time is to advise because the laws are just in effect. But really, as you can see, most of them are compliant, and see most of the passengers are wearing their face masks as well.
So, is there any special discount that is being done as far as the fares are concerned? Given that it's Tabaski, there are so many people trying to cross all at the same time. What special services is the ferry department offering? Is there any?
So, the special service we are offering is to ensure that the availability of fares. You will believe with me that in this country, availability of fares is one of the biggest issues we have here. And that one is also. The other thing we can give to the customers is we are giving all the customers 50% discount on grams only. As far as the fares are concerned, it's $25 per passenger. Unfortunately, we are not able to provide any discount for that.
Any message to commuters out here?
Also, we as ferry service, we are grateful to the customers. The other interview I did on QTV, the advice I sent out is for customers to start their commute as early as possible. Fortunately, they have heeded to that advice, and many of the customers have started crossing, over 3 or 4 days back. So we started seeing this build-up, almost 3 or 4 days back, and then the same build-up is continuing. As far as we are concerned, the customers are also very compliant. As you can see the ferry right now, when it's full and you ask them to come down and wait for the other ferry, they do comply. And as you can see, the joint ferries at the other side waiting for the terminal to depart. As long as terminal departs, the joint ferry will come on inside, and then the passengers will embark on that. So we have a very good preparation. Ferries leaving at least between 30 to 40 minutes apart. I think that's a good achievement at this time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jara, for your time. We appreciate this. General Associate from Mr. Jara, who's the General Manager for our ferries. The situation here is orderly, it's calm, except for when the ferries arrive and people are rushing to enter the ferry. But otherwise, there's really not much trouble out here. So we're trying to speak to hopefully a few people out here, a few commuters.
Time constraints, Ansumana, we have to wrap up. That is Ansumana Esonyasi there in Banjul, giving us updates in relation to the ferry services. Ansumana, can you hear me? Ansumana, can you hear me? We have to wrap up due to time constraints. Ansumana, can you hear me? Okay, so that is Ansumana Esonyasi right there in Banjul at the ferry services in Banjul, taking us through some of the activities that are happening there. And I'm happy about the fact that the ferry services decided to fulfill their promise of making sure that all of the 3 ferries are operational this Tabaski. I think that is a thumbs up on their side.
Exactly.
Yes.
This is very important because most people will be using this road. And fish like Tabaski, you know, they have to make sure all things are put in place to make sure the smooth running of this area. So it is very important, Jenaba.
Yeah, it is very important. So viewers, like I mentioned, that was Ansumana Esonyasi there in the Banjul ferry services, giving us updates as it happens. Up next, we have the sports update, and we are joined by our colleague Adedirami. But before we go into that, we'll go for a short commercial break. When we come back, he will take us through what is happening in the world of sports. Do stay tuned.
We'll be back.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
to build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
Light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
with ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow. The best product in town is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800.
Welcome back, viewers, from that short commercial break. Like I mentioned, we are joined by our colleague Adedirami to take us through what is happening in the world of sports. Welcome back.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good to be here again, pretending to be Gajaga again. Now, 3 big stories, really. There's the African Champions League that took place, the final took place over the weekend. Then there's the Olympics, and then there's the World Cup. You're thinking, World Cup? What's happening with the World Cup? But I think first we have to start, the first place we have to start with has to be the African Champions League. Final took place on Saturday, and it was quite a match. And I hope we'll be able to see some of the pictures behind, and I'll guide you through as we go through the pictures. Al Ahly took on Kaizer Chiefs of South Africa. Al Ahly of Egypt took on Kaizer Chiefs of South Africa, and it was a really, really exciting match. And that game, all the build-up before the game was all about the fact that Al Ahly were going for their 10th title, Al-Ashra, as they called it, and La Decima, as they call it in Europe, when Real Madrid were going for their 10th title. And they took on Kaizer Chiefs. And Kaizer Chiefs, their first ever time in the final, and it was quite a game. And lots of things, kind of side interests. And we're about to see, I won't spoil it, but just keep watching, because this, what you're about to see, is quite well-worked move. And then, bam, second goal. Now, the first goal actually came just on the stroke of, just after halftime, I beg your pardon. And just on the stroke of halftime, one of the Kaizer Chiefs players was sent off. And unfortunately, I mean, when you're a team playing against a team that's going for their 10th title, you don't want to play with 10 men against them. And so that was what happened. And then, you know, late on in the game, 73rd minute or so, came this. And this was really, again, another brilliantly worked move. There was a dispute about whether it was subject to VAR and should have been disallowed. And there, and bam, third goal for Al Ahly. And really, that was the end of the scoring. But, you know, they thoroughly deserved it. But it would have been good to have seen both teams going at it for the whole of the match, 11 against 11. Because, as I said, Al Ahly, very good side. Really, they need the help of, you know, having to play against 10 men. And, you know, they clinched their 10th title. And the side story to this is that Kaizer Chiefs from South Africa is actually the club that the current Al Ahly coach used to support as a boy growing up in South Africa, Pitso Mosemane. And, of course, you know, he's very much the hero. And it's second title for him with Al Ahly. There he is. He led them to the same title, and at the end he waved that flag, the flag of South Africa, because we all know about all the problems happening in South Africa right now. But they're deserved champions, Al Ahly, great side, and yeah, you know, and they're the teams that sort of took to the field at the start of the game. But you know, commiserations to Kaizer Chiefs. They played some great football, but it was not to be their day. Now, second story is to do with the Olympic Games. The Olympic Games are just about 4 days away from kicking off. And unfortunately, Africa has been setting all the wrong sorts of headlines. And again, if we can see on the screen behind me, the first headline actually was from last week when a Ugandan athlete actually defected and said he wanted to stay in Tokyo. Wow. He didn't go back to the Olympic Village. And the picture you can see behind me here is the Olympic Village itself. But now, another sort of unwarranted or unwanted headline is the fact that 2 South African footballers who were meant to be taking part in the Games have actually tested positive for COVID, and they are the first athletes to test positive for COVID. And as I said, unfortunately, unwanted headlines there from Africa for the Olympic Games. And we wish them well, and we hope they get back to full fitness pretty soon. And that takes us on to our final story, and this is to do with the World Cup. Now, anybody who knows anything about football will know that the World Cup happens every 4 years. For the last 10 years or so, there's been a debate about whether that's too long. You know, some players only get the one chance to feature. But surprisingly, perhaps not surprisingly, pictures there of when the World Cup, the only time it's been held in Africa, and that was in South Africa in 2010. And then Senegal, of course, did us proud at the last World Cup. See some Senegal players there arguing. But what's happened now is that African FAs across the whole of the continent have actually backed a move for it to be held every 2 years instead of every 4. And there's Africa backs 2-year World Cup, and these are the teams that are in the pot for the next qualifying round of the from Africa rather, for the World Cup. Roger Milla, their Cameroon, who did us proud in 1990, got all the way to the quarterfinals before they were knocked out by England. And again, there we've seen some pictures there. So it could be, because so many teams, countries rather, and associations from across the world seem to be in favor of it. What we've become used to, World Cups every 4 years, might be a thing of the past. And so from the one after Qatar, it could well be that we see World Cups every 2 years, and that would be great. So yeah, and let's hope Gambia gets to qualify.
That is important when it comes to World Cups. As World Cups are played every 4 years, we all know that. I mean, most people are in a haste to see World Cup. So every 2 years will be very good. I think there is a legend that you just mentioned here, Roger Milla.
Yes.
I mean, Roger Milla has the record for being the oldest outfield player to score in a World Cup. He played in his first World Cup at the age of 34, played in his second World Cup at the age of 38, and then at the age of 42, still managed to get on the score sheet. So absolute legend and one of the greatest players ever to come out of Africa. And there he is being raised high. And that was a game against Colombia where he scored 2 goals in the 1990 World Cup. The picture we just saw there of him. Great, great player. And yes, I mean, FIFA are all for it because from the last World Cup and the previous World Cups, they made something like $250 million profit. So if it happens every 2 years, they're counting the money. And of course, we all get to benefit from it. There's a thing called FIFA Forward, which is a fund that they give countries up to $20 or $26 million each to kind of benefit football in every single country. And that's each country gets to benefit, even the Gambia. Although when I last checked, I think Gambia's only taken something like 10% of the money it is entitled to have taken. I don't know why. I hope they're watching and they can explain why.
Yeah, well, imagine World Cup playing now every 2 years. I mean, that's an increment.
Thank you so much, Ade.
As always, a pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming here. We really appreciate it, giving us all those updates of things happening in the world of sports. Thank you. We will now go for a short commercial break. When we come back, then we get to look at entertainment update. Do stay tuned.
Step into the future of television with sleek and slim design Samsung Smart TVs, ranging in size from 32 to 75 inches, and in different technology: Smart LED, Crystal UHD, Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dot LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV as our TVs offer an unparalleled vision adventure from the comfort of your living room. Ultra viewing angle, powerful picture quality, web browser, gallery, EarthNet LAN, wireless LAN built-in, Bluetooth, screen mirroring technology, mobile on TV mirroring, built-in voice assistance, Wi-Fi direct. Not only that, our TVs are backed with 12 months warranty and we are currently on a promotion. Contact us on 333-3217.
Want more in your bundle? At QCell, the biggest, fastest, and most reliable mobile operator, we've got you covered.
Welcome back, viewers, from that short commercial break. Special thanks to Adedarami for that update. In relation to things happening in the world of sports, we wish luck to our Olympians that are heading to Tokyo. So now, moving on, we have Skeng Man Sweezy right here to talk to us about some of the things happening in the world of entertainment.
Man is ugly.
Man's ugly.
Welcome.
But due to time constraints, I believe this is going to be a very quick one.
This one will be short and precise, actually.
Let's get to Click.
Good morning, viewers. I'm Skengman Sweezy, and this is the Click segment that comes your way every day from Monday to Thursdays. Well, during the weekend, we saw what was going over the social media within GSC Record and Hadify with Popcorn and then Kumbunka, the show event that was supposed to take place. They both had the same date, clashed, but the issue has been resolved. Actually, there's a flyer that was released this weekend as well for Popcorn, which is supposed to take place on the 15th, a week after Kumbunka's show. But before that, let's just read quickly what Malam Fadi wrote on Facebook, actually, before the date could change. He said, Hadify, short-term promotion, we have a major event on this day that we have been pushing for months now. Please consider giving Kumboka a chance, as he is a local artist and this is his debut album. We have tried to call you a few times to talk, but the line is not going through. Please look into this. So that was what GSC, the manager of GSC, wrote to Hadify on Facebook, because I tried to contact him this morning. He said that they've resolved certain things. Yeah. And then what Absolute Entertainment posted on Instagram was this. He said, Popcorn and Unruly Band live in the Gambia. Date changed a lot. After consultation with the representative of Kumbunka and JSC Music, as well all our stakeholders, we have decided to move the live concert to the most sought-out dancehall artists straight out of Jamaica, Popcorn and the Unruly Band, to a new date. We believe this move is necessary since we are in support of Kumbunka and his management, and we are also we also invested in the growth of our music industry. Our best wishes to Kumbunka on the release of his debut album and live concert. Okay. So now, what we stress about all the time is, this is not the first time. Most of our government artists have been having date clash and issues with date when it comes to their event and performances. But this step that Hadify took, to me, it's a good step. Like, seriously. If it is somebody else, they won't even look into it, because she's paying thousands of dollars to bring Popcorn in the Gambia. And with this, changing the date for Kumbunka to give him a space and a platform as well is something really good in the industry.
I believe so as well.
Thumbs up to Hadify.
But like Hadify said, she's been also supporting local artists. So this is it. But due to time constraints, we just have to wrap this up here. Thank you so much to Skeng Man Sweezy.
Come your way again tomorrow. And happy Tabaski to everybody. Everybody. I'm coming for you.
No, you are. I bought a big round.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Skeng Man. And thank you so much, Ibrahim Abalde. That is all we have for you in this edition of QTV's This Morning program. Till we come your way on Thursday. I forgot that tomorrow is Eid. So, you know, should we come tomorrow? Should we come tomorrow?
Should we?
Should we? Okay, we will come your way on Thursday, inshallah, with another episode. Wishing all of you a happy Tabaski. Don't forget that you can sponsor this particular program. Come on here and get to negotiate with our marketing team. So tomorrow on Thursday, we will get to bring you another episode. Midday News is next with Aji Bintu Jame. Bye for now.